What it do, fams? What it do? Congratulations on making it back to the show or waiting me out. I know it's been a long time. Everybody know that's been following me on the show know that I'm campaigning, so took a couple weeks off. I can't even remember why we missed the Monday. Oh, we did our show on Miss Taylor's Facebook Live. So if you missed that, you follow me on my page, check out that interview we did with Miss Taylor. Let's see. If you haven't, and this is your first time joining the show, my name is Dr. Antoine C. Brown. I am the host of The Booth Shop. Why we call it The Booth Shop? Because everything that we know happens in the barbershop, all the good conversations, sports, life, politics, marriage, whatever it is happens in the barbershop. I'm a bowler. I've been bowling since I'm 7 years old. But before COVID, this show was inside the bowling alley. So I would interview my friends because I realized there's a lot of people that bowl in these leagues that we don't know have some very important jobs, or they just very important people. They just don't say anything. But we had great conversation and intellectual conversation, sometimes just silly. So I wanted to bring that whole essence to you, give you all the information that I was getting around the community, talk about all the things that I was hearing as I was out on these bowling tournaments and stuff like that, just like we was in the barbershop. So before we get started, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell for the notification. Do what you need to do to make sure you get all this content that we give you every other Monday. We have a lot of things going on, so make sure you follow me on Instagram at elected_Antoine C. Brown. Follow me on TikTok at Mr. Resource Guy, and on Twitter at Mr. Antoine C. Brown. Also, you can follow me on Facebook. Just my name. You can find it. You'll come up to the Elected Antoine C. Brown page to get all the information. Now, you know how these platforms work. It's different information on all of them. Check out my TikTok when I did some frolicking last month, which was absolutely amazing. So check that out. Check out the frolicking I did on that day. To all my fathers of the world, happy belated Father's Day. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got all the gifts. I have a running joke with my best friend that our kids gonna wake up one morning, make us steak, give us potatoes, take us to the bar, bring us back a good gift, and we're gonna go to sleep, and they're gonna pay the bills for the day. And then we wake up out of that great nightmare because we know that's not going to happen. But we say that before getting older, one day they'll make sure it happens. Let's see. Happy Juneteenth, Independence Day for Black people. If you don't know what Juneteenth is, then at this point, you have a problem. Let's Google it, look it up. Let's figure it out. We are celebrating a federal holiday today. I went out and played golf. Bad idea because everybody was out there. So happy Juneteenth to all my fellow people of the world. I have some activities coming up that I want to share. Well, some activities that's coming up that need to be done. Like one, it is in the state of Maryland, we're voting, right? You should be getting your ballots in the mail. I got mine. I bring it with me. Excuse me. I got my ballot. Came in the mail. July 19th. Polls open at 7 a.m. Polls close at 8 p.m. And inside of the ballot, you see all this good stuff telling you how to vote. It's one page, where the poll locations are. If you're doing mail-in ballot, they got drop-off locations. And then they show you what the ballot will look like. It's a lot of things. This is the official ballot that comes from, official sample ballot that comes from the election board of Prince George's County. Everybody should get one of these so you can do your research. When you get this, I pray and I hope that you look up the candidates in here, check out their websites, do some research for you. You got plenty of time for the next 17 days to look up candidates, see what they're about, get their information, all that good stuff. I absolutely encourage you to get this, not the mailers that's coming from the marketing companies all the time, because sometimes those things are misleading. So you all my fans, all the people that's here, that's educated, because we talked about this over the last few years. Go get this right here, fill it out, look it up. You can also bubble it in. You can take this with you inside the poll once you done did your research, and you fill it out exactly who it is. At this point, I got one name I definitely know you should take with you, because we've been talking about that. So make sure you get that one name. I have a guest tonight that's going to tell you a little bit about himself, and we and him are hoping that you also can fill out his name, because I am for all smart, educated men being in office in the right places in the right position. So let's see what else is coming up. I need your help on election day covering the polls. So do me a favor. I have a sign-up sheet somewhere. I think my lovely assistant executive director should have it. If not, it's a sign-up genius. July 7th through July 14th, it's early voting. I'm looking for people to volunteer. So go to my website, put your name down on the volunteer section somewhere on there. Not sure where right now, but it's on there. Put your name down there so we can sign you up, so you can come out and get one of these nice, pretty t-shirts and pass out information about your guy, Dr. Antoine C. Brown. Let's see what else we got here. We are having a volunteer cookout that day. Location will be presented to you once you sign up. You come out, we tell you what the day is, what to expect on the day, what you will be getting. I got a live band coming out, some food coming out. So all those things where we are rocking and rolling. So if you are interested in a good time before the good work starts, sign up, become a volunteer for early voting and or election day. We need you. We need you both times. So, and then at that, we have a result party somewhere. Location will be sent to you when you sign up. All right. So after all the hard work we done put in over this last year, it's finally winding down. And on July 19th, we will see the results coming in, and we will just enjoy the process and the fruits of our labor that night. So come on in and volunteer on that day. And I'll be waiting to see your name. And I just lost my notes, but don't tell nobody. Okay. I got him. I'm back. So I already mentioned that July 19th is election night. So with that being said, let me start this show off again by saying, I want to thank we got a guest, because I didn't say that. We got a guest tonight. His name is Mr. Sylvester Jones. Awesome leader, U.S. Marshal Service. Awesome leader, United States Army. Awesome leader. I've sat down and had several conversations with this gentleman, and it has been amazing each time. He is a candidate for the sheriff. He's running for the sheriff in Prince George's County, Maryland. And I'll let him get you all the details of his campaign. He's also written a book. We'll get to talk about that a little bit. But I like what I hear, and I'm glad I can be able to present this information to you. I am honored to present to you Mr. Sylvester Jones.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Antoine C. Brown, candidate for Delegate District 26. And my frat brother from the great fraternity, A Phi A.
Alpha, stand up first, baby. Stand up first.
That's right. So thank you for having me on your podcast show. And it was a great introduction. I had to take some notes, you that you laid out a lot of things that are very, very important as we enter this final stretch of the 2022 primary election season, which a lot of folks, I'm not going to say a lot of folks, but some folks don't know that, we have to make sure we continue to let them know that early voting, July 7th to July 14th, and the election day on July 19th. On July 19th, that's going to be whoever wins out on the votes is the person that'll win in November. So in our county, the November election, as we know, is just a formality. You win in July, you end in November. And that's the bottom line. So again, thank you. And I introduced myself, if I may, real quickly. You pretty much gave me a great intro, so I appreciate that. Retired from the U.S. Marshal Service as an assistant director, first African American deputy marshal to rise up the ranks in the history of the agency, which is over 230 years, to make it up to the assistant director, senior executive. So I've pretty much run just about all of their operational programs, at least half of them of the 6. And that experience actually parallels that of a sheriff. A marshal and a sheriff is very similar in duty. And also, by law, any marshal has the same authority as a sheriff when operating in a county. And so I've had some really high level experience. And I'll just say that I'm the only candidate that can say, and I can say this with authority, that has created maybe 200 law enforcement jobs. And it's you do that by having experience, expanded experience. And I've worked with counties, sheriff's office, police departments all over this country and in some other countries. And so I've directed training programs in Colombia, helping them to protect their infrastructure, their judges, their prosecutors. I did the same thing in Mexico, Guatemala, Trinidad and Tobago. It's just I'm trying to bring some of this, some of the things that I've been doing in my career to our great county. And Prince George's County is a great county, but it's one county of many. And I think we need expanded leadership that touches all kind of levels of organizations and with strong collaboration. I was a police officer back home in Illinois for 4 years. And I think what's important, and I'm going to try to wrap up so we can get it back to you, is when I retired in 2014, this is my 3rd run for sheriff. We ran in 14 against the incumbent. He won. We ran in 18 against the incumbent. He won. He's not running no more. And I remember him telling me last election, we were having a talk in Upper Marlboro. He said, if not me, pointed to himself, then you. And so it's not him. So this definitely should be me, God willing. And I volunteered for a community-based organization in Upper Marlboro for 4 years, chairing their public safety committee. And for less than a year, when they had a vacancy on the Return of Citizens Committee, I chaired that. At that time, I was chairing 2 committees, serving on the executive board for this organization. And I also served and got some experience as a substitute part-time teacher for a couple of years, K through 5 and middle school. So when it comes to a candidate that has the total local, national, and global law enforcement experience, and also, working with children, actually getting into the schools, working with children, understanding what their day is like, I'm clearly, to me, the best candidate. And we need a fresh set of well-qualified eyes in our law enforcement community, leading our sheriff's office. And with that said, I did author a book real quickly, Hunting Criminals to Hiding Them, My Journey to and with the United States Marshal Service. I did that in 2015, I believe it was released. And it talks about leadership. It talks about my journey and through, with the military, which I didn't talk about. I'll talk about briefly. My journey as a police officer back home in Illinois and how I got to the Marshal Service and just about everything I've done in the Marshal Service, including creating new programs, law enforcement and security safety programs. So I am retired Lieutenant Colonel, military police. I think I say this, and I'm pretty much sure I'm correct. I'm the only veteran running for sheriff, because my brother, Dr. Brown, is also an Army veteran running. And I'm definitely very supportive of you. Like you were saying in our conversations, we need people who are not afraid of change. We need new ideas, fresh energy. And, one of the things that we want to stop doing, I think, is voting on the same way, on some of the same people and getting the same results, which is not much. And so, yes, I'm a retired Lieutenant Colonel. I served a total of 25 years, Gulf War veteran. I'll turn it back over to you, Dr. Brown.
Man, that's a lot. Well, I appreciate all that. And when you said we're going to talk about I got questions for myself because it's two things that I think the Marshal Service, and without getting into any details of what you did and who you protect, but I don't think we really give the Marshal Service its just due when it comes to law enforcement sometimes, because we just think, I don't know what we think about it. I know some people, when I was telling them I had you on the show, they was like, I don't even know what the U.S. Marshal Service do, but lock people up over there. Like, so tell a little bit about that, and then go right into what the sheriff office does, because a lot of people don't know what the sheriff does, and maybe a little bit of ideas of what you got planned for that.
Great question, Dr. Brown. The U.S. Marshal Service is the oldest federal law enforcement agency. I think I mentioned earlier. They were established in September of 1789. Of course, the sheriff office is older, established in 1600. So they have more history than the marshals. But I don't know, why they created the marshals. They when they it's a some kind of act in 1789 when they had the first 13 colonies. They created, I think they had 13 U.S. Marshals, so the agency started. The agency, of course, it was from the Old West. Of course,
that's how we remember it off the shows, and
they
want to get the bad guys.
They were superior to the sheriff, so they usually sent the marshal when the sheriff was acting up and corrupt. They sent the marshal in to take over the town. But and I'm not saying that we that's what we need. That's what we have here. But the Marshal Service has a number of missions: judicial and court security. That means protecting our more than 2,000 federal judges and 500 courthouses. I led that mission for 6 years, so I know that. I understand entry security and physical protection, doing advances and making sure that we do all we can to protect the people we're supposed to protect. We have pretrial detention. I think there's more than 60,000, unfortunately, pretrial detainees in the federal system before they're convicted. So we have to take care of and manage housing for them, manage their transportation to and from court and all of that. And so we do that. And they also have a air transportation wing. It's called JPATS, Justice, Prisoner, Alien, and Transportation System. It's headquartered out in Oklahoma City, and they have an office in, I think, main headquarters in Kansas City. And if you remember the movie Con Air back in the day with John Cusack and Nicolas Cage, it's built off of that, off of the JPATS movie, that they hijacked that plane that was a Marshal's plane carrying prisoners. We have fugitive investigations or investigative division. They coordinate all of the fugitive investigations across the country. Although we have 94 judicial districts and 94 U.S. Marshals, with the exception there's a second Marshal in Superior Court. And so a lot of people confuse Superior Court right close by in Washington, D.C. And then you have District Court. So it's really 95 Marshals. Superior Court is actually the sheriff in DC. DC don't have a sheriff. So Marshal Service in Superior Court maintains and produces the pretrial detainees. And so in DC, the marshal is the sheriff. Some folks don't know that. That's why when you look at what the U.S. Marshal do and what the sheriffs do is very similar. We also have seize assets, a division where we seize assets from folks like drug dealers and other criminal enterprises who amaze their wealth through criminal activity. And there's a fund that they put that money in. There's also some equitable sharing that when we partner with locals, that they can get some of that money as well. That's the kind of experience that I have, and I'm familiar with that program because I worked as a supervisor of that program when I served in Puerto Rico. Lastly, we have the famed Witness Protection Program, started in 1974 by a good friend and mentor of mine, the late Gerald Scher, who was a criminal attorney in the Department of Justice when John F. Kennedy was president. And that program houses almost 12,000 witnesses. It's a top secret program. It has a lot of compartments to it, and I'm not allowed to discuss much about it. But we protect up to close to 12,000 witnesses and their families. And I led that program successfully for 9 years, and it helped several countries around the world, including Israel, Trinidad, Guatemala, Colombia, Mexico, and probably some others established their programs. And so I consulted, traveled to those locations and helped, put training teams together to train them. And so that's the Marshal Service. So the second question was the Sheriff's Office. So we know the sheriffs protect in this county, two courthouses, the big one in Upper Marlboro and another one not so big in Hyattsville, Maryland. In one district, they respond to domestic violence calls. One of the similarities between a marshal and a sheriff is judges. We protect and look out for the judges, and we serve their orders. And so if there's writs of habeas corpus or criminal warrants or what have you, we have to execute those warrants. And unfortunately, also evictions, which is always, to me, and I think for anybody who has feelings for families, very difficult mission to fulfill, but it is a court order and you have to execute it. But I always tell folks to execute it and have passion. If you can give folks more time, give them more time. And what else does sheriff do? The sheriff in most counties also have pretrial detainees or run a temporary, or not a temporary, but a detention facility, such as where I'm from in Chicago. We have Cook County. They have the Cook County Detention Center or courthouse where pretrial prisoners are held until they are convicted and sent to a prison. In this county, the sheriff does not do that. The county executive appoints a director of corrections, and they have a department of corrections that houses the prisoners or the detainees there. I don't know if you want to call them prisoners because they are pretrial detainees. And again, domestic violence, enforcing child support orders, and things like that, civil process, and unfortunately evictions. And they have the same authority as the police officers, but the sheriff department is much smaller than our local police department. Somebody quoted that the police department had 1,200. They misquoted 1,200 officers. They have 1,800 or a little less. And the sheriff office, as far as I knew, was authorized 340. But I understand they were extremely understaffed. And so that's the sheriff, and that's the marshals. And also, the Marshal Service does, first of all, number one in catching fugitives, and have a great relationship, have a great portfolio of experience protecting judges and witnesses. And I'm proud to say, and I praise God for it all the time, that under my watch, and on the witness side, that's still going good. No witness who has cooperated and followed the rules has been harmed. And under my watch, we lost no judges or anything like that, because I strongly believe in training and retraining and great supervision and leadership and accountability. And like I said, I talk about some of that stuff in my book, and I led by example. And I think for our sheriff's department, we can use a lot of what I bring to the table versus what I'm a term same or stovepipe leadership. That's a term I think I used before. In other words, Prince George's County is a great county, but it's only one county out of many. For example, I believe in Georgia, where I served as the chief deputy for a year, I think they have like 159 counties in Georgia. I don't know how many in Maryland. But I served as the chief deputy U.S. Marshal for 1 year in Atlanta before my historic appointment to the senior executive of service. And I rated up to the rank of SES 4, which is the equivalent of a 4-star general. And I reached the level of the third level of command in the entire country for the U.S. Marshal Service. So I try to, you'll find that a lot of times when I'm speaking, I don't go into all of that. I'm trying to hit high points and get everything in so that people know who I am. But I'm not trying to bust my arm, pat myself on the back. But what I'm trying to let the voters know, and in our county, that we can do better. We have better. We just have to vote better. And that vote is Jones for sheriff. And I think we're both on the same page. Let me put my glasses on here in the sample that you pulled out. Okay, if you go to page it's all the way back, but on page 18, you and I are on here. So we got to make sure we get all of the votes that we can get. And so you're in the third column, and I'm in the first column. And please vote for Sylvester Jones and Dr. Antoine C. Brown, Delegate, District 26. You will hey, we're running on a ticket with another veteran, and we call ourselves the All-American Veteran Team. So,
Sylvester, like I think that's important. That I tell you and Ernest all the time when I talk to Ernest, like I don't have, and I know my Army veteran is gonna be mad. I only have 3 years of service, right? But every time I hear, they say, no, you served, you did something that most people couldn't do. So I understand the leadership portion that it takes, the commitment that it takes to serve other people without any remorse for your own safety. And I couldn't even imagine, Sylvester, that you went and served as you were serving in the Guard, right? Serving that, being a marshal for that many years, being on the police force for that many, like it's so many entangled leadership qualities and immoral compass you have to push that way. Like, and most civilians don't understand what it takes for us emotionally to put that aside to serve others. So I appreciate what you've done over your career in totality. I really think the service, the office of sheriff would be highly impressed. If this was a job interview and not an election, we wouldn't be having these conversations right now. So that's like you'd be top of the CEO ballot. They'd be bring you in for 4 or 5 more interviews, trying to lock you down, make sure you don't get away, pay you big bucks. But the fact that you're deciding to run for sheriff in our county, which is not little pay, but you could probably be a consultant somewhere in Guam or something and make $100,000 more that you could and sit back on the beach and retire, right? But the heart you have, the service mind that you have, the commitment to people that you have, it's commendable. I know my heart is the same, and all I want to do is serve. But I just can't imagine how many years and how many you had to pick the most highly risky occupations in the world to serve and retire from. So once again, I'm just patting you. If you don't want to give yourself kudos, Sylvester, I will, because I'm impressed, and I don't know if anybody else listening to this will be impressed. Because like I said, we don't when we think of the U.S. Marshal, we don't think about like you have family, like you got to go back to them, and you doing all these highly risky things that may not bring you back to your family, but you still did it. You still did it with class, the brilliance that you did it, and you here trying to serve the county. So congratulations, man.
Yeah, thank you. And your time, you served 3 years in our Army. The Army is, and I know this factually, is the United States Army is the most lethal, far-reaching organization in the world. And you put in, I don't care what your MOS, which is military occupational specialty, as you know, some others might not, so I want to spell it out. You put in, and you served, and you deserve any accolades and benefits. A sergeant major who's the commander of the VFW, he says, you serve, you deserve. And we as veterans on this ballot, we're asking for all of the Prince George's County, I think they say 55,000 veterans. I may have said that earlier. I think it's 60 veterans out there. Please vote on your fellow veterans. We have a veteran slate with, and I hate to say slates because we're civil servants. We want to serve you. And we want to bring better leadership, better security, more focused security, better collaboration, putting our heads together and working together to improve Prince George's County. And, when you have people that want to do that and they want to serve, and like you said, I don't have to, Brother Brown, you don't have to, you love your home, you want your county, and you want to make it better, for your family and yourself and for everyone else around it. And that's what we're trying to do here. And so, with that said, I did get some offers to take some positions overseas, but I didn't, want to do that. And again, this is my third run for sheriff. Some folks say, well, I love it when people say, well, why you want to run again? I mean, is it exhausting? Yes, it's exhausting.
Yes,
Uh,
it is.
isn't it costly? Yes, it's costly. So yeah, it's a lot of work. Yes, yes, and yes. And so, but I think that if I'm gonna say when the people of this county elect me sheriff, um, this time around, the third time is a charm campaign. They elect you send you as a delegate to the state house down there. They're going to be very happy about it. They're going to see results, changes. Somebody asked me during the forum the other day, you ran in 14. Is there any change between now and then? I think they were talking about the sheriff's office specifically. I said, no. Unfortunately, I'm not knocking them, but every place I've worked at and led, there's been some change and it's been all positive. Also, while I was serving in Marshal Service, I was the deciding official for agency discipline for 4 years. The normal term is 2, but I got caught with that for 4 years while I was completing my master's degree at the University of Maryland and also completing my Guard and Reserve duty. I retired from the DC Guard as my last station as a lieutenant colonel. I was the operations officer for the 260th MP Command in July of 2005, which gave me 25 years of total service. About 10, 11 in the Guard, 10, 11 in the reserves, and then a couple years active, including that deployment we mentioned. And so, and you're right, when it comes to the military, they teach us for every position of leadership, they train you for it. And so I did want to talk on one other thing, and I know we're running out of time, about reform. Some folks always ask me, do I believe in police reform in today's society? And the answer is yes. And they ask me, well, what is reform? And reform is an umbrella of accountability. So think about an umbrella of accountability, so you're not getting rained on. You're under the rain, maybe the sun is too hot. So it's an umbrella of accountability. Under that umbrella is 4 elements that I think represents good reform. Number 1, you got to make sure you're hiring the right people. The right people with the right spirit, the right energy, the right mindset for the job. Then you got to get them the best training that you can get them and retraining. So hiring and training, those are critical. So then the next one is supervision. So you want to hire them, pick good people, give them good training, and give them good leadership. So you want to supervise them. So you have to, make sure you have the people who can provide that kind of the supervision that's needed to continue to do the job and take care of our constituents, our people. And lastly, you need good discipline, fair discipline. Now, I'm not saying hang people out to dry. You have to investigate improprieties, because we know some people take the job and shouldn't have it, and they shouldn't be on the job. And if they breaking the law and doing criminal activity, they have to be treated for who and what they are. Because you have a gun and a badge, don't mean you can go out here and shoot people and rob people and do other things that we see. So reform, and think about the umbrella, accountability, and under accountability, hiring the best people, training that good group of people, giving them good supervision, providing good fair discipline. That's all under accountability. And if some of those pieces are missing, you're not going to have accountability. And see, and right there where you have accountability, you have transparency.
And that's going to take me to. I'm gonna transition to your book. I wrote a book, and that scared the crap out of me. But you have a whole book of hunting criminals and hiding them. And I kind of got, after talking to you and listening to you now, kind of know where this is going. But tell us a little bit why you decided to write that. Who does it help, and how could it help moving forward? Because we got some things in our county and our justice system, and maybe tell us a little bit how your book ends. And then we'll kind of wrap it up. We didn't want to be long, but this is cool. I like the conversation.
This is wonderful. I appreciate the invite to appear on your show, and it's informative. And at the end of the day, it's good to have programs out there that's informative, that's good for the people, and good for us. And so the impetus for the book, as growing up, my mother always talked about writing a book. And I remember that she had this old typewriter or some kind of thing that she was using to type and keep her notes for, her book. Because if you over the years trying to write a book and you have things that you want to write about, you either have to keep good notes or good records or both. And so I happen to do both. And so my mom, unfortunately, went through they had a fire and she lost a lot of stuff, including her stuff, that her material for the book. She still says that in her age, she's still want to write that book. But she's the one really I'll give the credit to for the motivation, the idea to write the book. And so when I thought about it, I said, well, I think I have a story to tell. And the book is kind of a parallel story. It starts out talking about, my background and growing up in Chicago and some of the things I did. That my first love for safety was as a patrol boy back in the day. Back in elementary and middle school, I was a patrol safety boy, and I did that. And then I was actually elected captain of patrol in my middle school, and when I was in the 8th grade. So I was over all patrol, and so that was my beginning. So I kind of talk about that. I talk about my 3 goals that I had in life: join the military, be a police officer, and be a professional football player. I played football in high school and went to North Carolina A&T. That was my first college, and I left there the first year. I was kind of homesick and wasn't doing the right things I need to do to study. But so those 3 things were important to me, and I was able to accomplish 2 of them, and 2 of them very successfully. Put the camera down. There we go. So I want to talk about my military experience and my travels there, the leadership opportunities I had, some of the bumps in the road, and the same with the Marshal Service, how I was able to navigate as a deputy marshal when I left the police department in Illinois, joining Chicago Marshal's office, doing 5.5 years there. Went to the Virgin Islands as a investigator, working directly for the U.S. Attorney's Office. Actually, the first year working major cases with their Department of Justice, because the U.S. Attorney's Office had oversight for that. And so I was working major cases for them, made some really nice cases and arrests. And I went to Puerto Rico as a supervisor for a couple of years. That's where I supervised our seized assets unit. We had the 2nd largest seized assets inventory next to the Southern District of New York. I was promoted to chief inspector over the pretrial detention programs. So I talk about all of that. Then I became the national program manager for court security, having the security of all of the judges, all of the courthouses and facilities, 5,000, I think it's like 5,500 court security officers. I had oversight, responsible for their training and creating training programs for my personnel. And so I wrote about all of that. That's there in the book. And I talk about my international training, because we helped a lot of people around the globe internationally. So all that's there. And so I have a lot of friends. I partnered with, I ran directed with my staff 5 international symposiums, 2 with Interpol in Lyon, France, where we went down there several times, set it up, conducted some of the most successful symposiums that we could on judicial security and, we call it justice sector security. And then I did the first one was in DC, the 2nd and 3rd in Lyon, France. We did one in Salvador, Brazil, which is on I want to say might be the eastern side of Brazil, I think. But we didn't. They wanted to go to Rio. I said, no, that's going to be a distraction. We're going to go to Salvador. And then the last one in Miami in 2010.
That one wasn't a distraction?
Salvador, no, because Rio's going to be I'd have had a hard time keeping people in class in Rio.
Yeah, what I'm saying, I'm talking Miami. That wasn't hard. They was okay with Miami.
Well, no, Miami was good, and because we had a really nice facility. I forget that hotel we had it at, and again, people would try. It's an international symposium, so we would have people from around the world traveling in. And so
Okay.
they knew how we ran our business. And so, after we had our, and then we would have some events for them to go to as well. But then on their off time, then they can enjoy Miami. And if they wanted to come a little early or stay a little later, they could.
Well, Sylvester, listen, I know that is once again I said thank you. Like we can't. It's a selfless service, so we hear thank you for your service all the time. And honestly, I didn't really know what that meant when I was actually in service. I didn't understand it, right? But as I talked to civilians when I got out and understand, because when you thank me for my service and I'm still serving, it doesn't feel right. And I don't know how you felt, but it just didn't feel right because I'm still serving you along the way. So don't thank me yet. You can thank me when it's on my headstone, but not right now. I'm still serving you, and I'm sure you're still serving the people. So I'm saying thank you for your service, but continue to do what you do. When you win, Sheriff, I am going to be there rooting for you. And I appreciate it. If you decide to go do something else great in the world for the next duration of your service, I'm going to be rooting for you because, brother, you are smart, you're intelligent, you have well-traveled, skillful in leadership, and those are qualities that you don't see in one person all the time. So I thank you. Thank you for being on my show today. I appreciate it. I'm going to share some of your social media because if you need to follow Sylvester, you can follow him on Instagram. It's down at the bottom. You can also follow him on IG. Here we go, Sylvester Jones USA 1906. He also has a Facebook page. Follow him on Facebook. I'm sorry, Twitter first. Sylvester S. Jones for Sheriff on Twitter, and then we can get the Facebook page here. So all this stuff, Sylvester, will be on my page. If you want to, send it out to people, here's your website one more time. Be an informed voter. Me and Sylvester on page. We on page 8, Sylvester?
Yeah. Definitely want to be an informed voter. So
be an informed voter. So we on page 9. So we on page 9 together.
Yeah, page 9 and 18, right, in Spanish.
And 18, right, on the back. So it's in English and in Spanish, guys. So if you have anybody that speaks Espanol, please let them know that it's on there. They can come get this, listen to it. Help them be an informed voter, and we bring on Mr. Sylvester Jones. Once again, congratulations. I know this has been a long year, so push these last 18 to 30, 20 days.
We're going to push together, Brother Brown, Dr. Brown. We're going to push together. And again, thank you for your leadership, your service. You serve you didn't mention it, I don't think, on this show. You're a current member of the Democratic Central Committee. So you already, people already voted you in the office. You're already serving and leading. You're trying to add to that and provide some leadership and a voice in the State House for District 26. And we can briefly, you can just, I know I live in District 26 in Accokeek. I think it's Fort Washington, Temple Hills, Oxon Hill, Forest Heights, District Heights.
A little bit of Clinton, a little bit of Camp Springs.
Okay. So, yeah. So the voters out there and, Antoine C. Brown, delegate, District 26. Vote for him.
Stop stealing my thunder on my shows. This is about you.
Okay. Well, thank you. Yeah. Hey, you know what? It's and I know we're leaving, we're closing out, but the people need to know, and not only from you, but from me and other folks, what you do. And it's an old saying and that's why I talked about some things earlier about my hesitancy to throw it all out there, because I don't want people to think that they say the best accolades about somebody are told about them by someone else.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And you absolutely right. Like if you talk to Felicia, I hate talking about the things I've done because, like I told you, I'm not finished yet. Like we got more to do. I did that stuff. That's already accomplished. We did that. There's more to do. We got a lot more people to help and to serve. But you do sometimes, and I wanted to bring you on to this week because you do sometimes, Sylvester, have to show and talk about all the leadership and service that you have. And I have a small platform in the universe. I wanted to share it with you so you can do that, and we can help you promote who you are and all the great leadership that you do.
I'm gonna look for that YouTube link so I can spread it out.
You got it. Don't worry about it. My executive director will definitely make sure you have all that.
Okay. Hey,
All right.
and real quick, lastly, to all of our fraternity brothers in the DMV and in the region, Brother Antoine C. Brown and Brother Sylvester Jones, we need your help if you can help us. We can use donations. It costs money to compete. And if you can't, donate, please consider volunteering. As he mentioned earlier, he had a call for volunteers at the polls, July 7th to July 14th. I think he said 7 a.m. to 8 or 9 p.m., whatever you can give. 2 hours here, 4 hours here. If you're working during the week, maybe you can get 2 or 3 hours on a Saturday. Whatever you can give, we need it and we appreciate it. And we're calling for it on the Shield.
On the Shield. I was gonna say that next. We calling for it on the Shield. All right. So, all right, brothers. I appreciate you. Stick
Oh,
around for a second. Don't go yet. Let me
okay.
close out the show and then we'll chop it up. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank
Thank you, Sylvester. Thank you, fans and everybody. That's Sylvester Jones. Like I told you, wealth of knowledge. Leadership skills is off the list. This man has been serving our United States he's been serving the United States of America, international. And now he's back in our local county. Wanted to share great person to vote for. Go to his website at votesylvesterjones.com. Learn more about him. Spread the word. Now we know how word of mouth works. If you tell one, that one equals two. In each household, if you tell 100, you get votes out. So you tell people about me, you tell people about Sylvester, you tell people about July 7th, July 14th. It's time for us to come out and vote. I'm a little afraid that we're gonna have a low voter turnout, but I know my people told me that they're gonna come out and support and vote. So I'm expecting them to tell all their people. So I'm expecting you to tell. If you don't live in the state, but you know somebody who does, tell them. Bring up our websites, put it on your page, tell a friend, put it on IG, TikTok, Twitter, all the social media. Put it up there. Visit my website at www.AnswanCBrown to get more information. Sign up to volunteer. Get all that good stuff. We are excited and fired up, y'all. This time right here, it's almost 2 weeks left until we start getting results in. We could not do this without the people that help us. We cannot do this without our loved ones. We could not do this without you. So make sure you get it. Follow me on all my social media pages. There we go. IG elected _ Antoine C. Brown. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Antoine C. Brown. Also, I am on TikTok at Mr. Resource Guy. All these good things. Did I forget one? No, I think that's it. Make sure you hashtag the booth shop when you do this. Tell them about the good information we got with Mr. Jones. Hashtag TBS, hashtag Team ACB for Delegate. Let's rock, all right? Let's spread. Let's make this thing go viral, and we're going to do this. Here we go, 17 days. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Sorry it took me so long to come back, but we came back strong with Mr. Sylvester Jones for sure. Love you guys. See you next time. Stay tuned for all the stuff I got. See you later. Have a good one.